and Communication Technology presents Educational Satellite Television Programs.
Hello, teacher. Hello, students. Welcome to today's lesson on comparing aerobic and anaerobic respiration. In our last lesson, we learned about ATP. We described the formation of ATP, and we discussed how important it is for providing the necessary energy for cell functioning. Today, we will compare aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Are you ready to begin, students? Let us start our lesson with a review activity. We looked at the definition of aerobic and anaerobic respiration in our previous lesson. Please take a few minutes and write the definitions of both.
Students, let's get ready. Time's up. Let's get back to our lesson.
Hello again, class. I hope you were able to recall this information. Respiration occurs in two ways. Aerobic respiration that uses oxygen to function, and anaerobic respiration that functions without oxygen. Did you write down the same answer? If so, great job. All living creatures have a process in common, which is respiration. During respiration, two important functions are performed. In the first function, the electrons that were generated during catabolism are disposed. The second function involves the production of ATP. As we know, aerobic respiration is a process that requires oxygen, and anaerobic respiration does not require oxygen. Aerobic and anaerobic respiration differ in terms of the amount of energy that is produced. Oxygen is always required in aerobic respiration. During this process, the molecules of food are broken down to obtain energy. At the end of the electron transport chain is the electron acceptor. The molecules of fuel that are generally used by the cells of the body during the process respiration are composed of glucose, fatty acids, and amino acids. In other words, when there is respiration through the aerobic process, glucose and oxygen produces ATP, carbon dioxide, and water. A lot of energy is produced during aerobic respiration. As many as 38 molecules of ATP are produced for every glucose molecule. The term anaerobic means no air, indicating anaerobic respiration is respiration that occurs without the use of oxygen. During this process, the molecules carry oxidation when oxygen is absent. This results in the production of energy, or ATP. There are two processes of anaerobic respiration. The first is lactic fermentation, during which glucose breaks down into ATP and lactic acid. Lactic fermentation occurs in the muscle cells of animals. The second is alcoholic fermentation, during which the glucose is broken down and produces ATP, ethanol, and carbon dioxide. Anaerobic respiration produces less energy than aerobic respiration. Only 2 molecules of ATP are produced for every glucose molecule. Students, let us do an activity to review what we have learned. Please determine if the following statements are true or false.
Students, let's get ready. Time's up. Let's get back to our lesson.
Hello again, everyone. Let us go through the correct answers. Aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration do not produce the same amount of energy. Aerobic respiration produces many more molecules of ATP per glucose molecules than anaerobic respiration does. At the end of the electron transport chain is the electron acceptor. The end products of aerobic respiration are carbon dioxide, water, and ATP. There is not only one process of anaerobic respiration. There are two processes, which are alcoholic fermentation and lactic fermentation. Fermentation is a kind of anaerobic respiration. How did you do? Let us continue, students. Primitive organisms began to respire anaerobically because oxygen was missing in the primitive atmosphere. Many living organisms have successfully adapted to the anaerobic form of respiration to survive. These organisms live in areas that are normally insufficient in oxygen, like the muddy bottom of a river. Humans are able to perform both types of respiration. Anaerobic respiration occurs for only a short period of time in humans. During vigorous activity, like running or exercising, the muscles use anaerobic respiration to produce lactic acid. This production of lactic acid is the main reason muscles become weak and painful after exercising. The body cannot get rid of lactic acid by breathing it out, as it does with carbon dioxide. When the exercise is over, lactic acid must be broken down. This reaction requires oxygen. The amount of oxygen needed to break down the lactic acid is known as oxygen debt. Once the exercise has stopped and the muscles have ceased working, our breathing and heart rate stay high to supply the body with extra oxygen until the oxygen debt is paid. The lactic acid is oxidized to produce carbon dioxide and water. We have reached the end of our lesson. Today, we have looked at aerobic and anaerobic respiration and compared the two processes. We also learned about lactic fermentation and alcoholic fermentation. Until next lesson, thank you, teacher. Thank you, students.